David James, you're back with Soccer Aid once again. How does it feel to be back amongst it?
Fantastic, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit bizarre wearing this kit.
That is the tastiest kit though, surely.
Yeah, everyone keeps
It's
saying
so
this.
nice.
I was with Dave Seaman the other day, and it was to do with classic shirts, and he had the original version of this, the one, literally. And I was like, yeah, it's great. And everyone go, whoa, 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 and I'm like, I never wore it.
There were plenty of goals in last year's Soccer Aid. Finished 4-2. What's the likelihood of a clean sheet this time around?
What, over 90 minutes? None at all. Absolutely none at all.
What about for the first half?
Which I was told traditionally, because I'm not trying to think, the first two Soccer Aids were clean sheets first half, so I came off kind of happy, and then we ended up losing, I think, penalties, especially in the first one. Then there was a penalty conceded, so I wasn't feeling too bad. And then Usain Bolt, I mean, what happens there? I don't know, it's weird, because I only want to keep clean sheets, really. Every time I put a shirt on, it's kind of like, oh, I want to do what I did, or tried to do when I was playing, keep clean sheets. But there's a funny sort of, almost like contradiction or paradox, where keeping clean sheets isn't that entertaining. So you want the fans and the viewers at home to watch it, be entertained, see loads of goals, and want to donate. I mean, that's the most important thing, the donations. And if somehow goals encourage donations, then I'm quite happy not to keep a clean sheet, although I won't look it.
It's funny though, isn't it? Because during the game, you obviously see the difference between the ex-pros and you see the celebrities giving their best, but the drop-off when the keepers change is so noticeable. Do you think that shows just how difficult it is to be a goalkeeper?
It's a great question. I don't, in a strange way, I think an outfield player can shoot from anywhere. It can go in the top corner, it'll be one of the goals of the season. The physical demands to save one in the top corner kind of limit the opportunities for most people. So yeah, the celebrity keepers I've got the utmost respect for. Again, going back to the point that it's a difficult position, and no one in their right mind who hasn't done this in their career should want to go out and do it in front of tens of thousands of people in the stadium, and more importantly, millions of people at home. So there isn't a bad celebrity keeper in that sense. There was Joel Dummett. Dave and I, we looked at each other after, and we blamed ourselves. We'd done all the training except for him saving shots on the floor, I think.
He went for it with his foot, I think.
Yeah. That was the thing. We hadn't dealt with that part. I mean, we literally had half an hour, I think, to get him ready for the game. So it was so close.
Now, you won't be the only goalkeeper wearing an England shirt this summer. How are you feeling about the England goalkeeping situation heading into the Euros? Because Jordan Pickford seems like he'll be the number one, but who would you pick in those other two roles?
It's funny because I think about it in my career and how I was involved in England squads and stuff. And I think, like, say for 2004, where I played my first tournament, it was quite good. We had I say quite good, for me it was fantastic, but it was more that we had fit goalkeepers playing all the way through the season. To then be picked and selected as the number one was kind of through, I say this respectfully, earning the position against stiff opposition. And then you go to 2010, where I didn't start, but I managed to get in the second game and sort of finish the tournament off. And I looked at it at 39 years old, and I was thinking, were England in a position where I shouldn't have really been there? I was in a relegation battle with Portsmouth, which we lost. Joe Hart was the sort of young upcoming goalkeeper, and obviously Rob Green had been chosen as number one. And I think what we've got now is a very similar situation, because Jordan Pickford is, I think, the best goalkeeper anyway, if everyone was fit. But the usual competitors, as in Nick Pope and Aaron Ramsey, are either not fit or not playing, which means it's very difficult for Jordan to be dislodged from that position when he hasn't got the best competition at the moment against him. Ramsdale, if he doesn't play, as much as I like him, you have to question whether he's the right person to take. Nick Pope, if he's not fit, obviously that will write him off from being selected. And it's whether you go to Scotland and look for Jack Butland.
Do you think that would be a good option, Jack Butland? He's been doing well at Rangers.
It's an option. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen him playing, and it's not that me seeing him play should be the overriding influence on whether he gets selected. I think it's more a case of how Gareth sees that third goalkeeper fitting in that England group. When you look at James Trafford at Burnley. He's been part of this England setup for a number of years now. He's playing regularly in the Premier League, albeit at the bottom of the table, but he is playing regularly in the Premier League. So he's up against the top talent in the world regularly. He's also, because of his involvement with England, would understand the England setup without a second thought, and therefore could come in and take that position. The question, like anything, is your number 3 going to play, and who's the best person for doing that? So loads of things up in the air. I think a lot of it, more importantly, is dependent on how fit Nick Pope is.
And how do you see England getting on as a whole at that tournament?
It's too early to say they're going to win it.
Too early. How far do you think they could get?
Well, it depends who they face in the final.
In terms of the way they're playing outfield as well, you know, obviously some questions have been put towards Gareth Southgate in terms of, you know, potentially being too safe. What do you make of those claims? I can already see you kind of rolling your eyes.
I can't blame any England fan or any commentator on England having an opinion which would differ to mine, because they're entitled to whatever they want. Ultimately, Gareth and that England side know what they need to do in order to get in a position to try and win the tournament. And it's not by beating the first team 6-0. It doesn't matter. You can win that group beating everyone 6-0. It doesn't matter. It's how you play, getting to, as they did before with the Euros, getting to the final. And, you know, let's be right. And it sounds really cliched and almost regurgitated now, but we're kind of like 1 or 2 penalties away from winning the Euros. Which completely changes the conversation that we're having now about how Gareth Southgate plays. Because had we won the Euros, no one would have complained about anything. Everything would have been perfect. So it's kind of, they know what the formula is. It's just when it comes to the crunch and that knockout stage or the penalty shootout, that we get it right. And I think, I'm hoping that the experience from the previous Euros puts us in good stead. It's different to the World Cup, guaranteed. But it puts us in good stead that when we do if we get to a penalty shootout, maybe even in the final, depending on who we play, that we've got the experience to win it.
Just going back to Soccer Aid very briefly as well. You're obviously going to start in goal during the first half for England. Is there any chance that you'll be going outfield though for the second half? Because we've seen that before, haven't we? We saw it in the Premier League.
Do you know what? That could work.
Could it work? How did that come about, by the way? When that happened in the Premier League, was it against Middlesbrough, I think?
It was against Middlesbrough, last game of the season for Man City. Kit man said to me, "Oh, I've got your kit ready at half time." And I'm like, "What are you on about?" And he went, "Got your kit ready?" And I'm like, "Just forget about it. Got a game to play." And then what seemed like 20 minutes before the end, the board goes up with, it didn't have my number on it, but it had Nicky Weaver stood next to it. And I'm thinking, what am I coming off for? So kind of went over there, and then all of a sudden Rayner gets taken off. Nicky goes in goal. I put an outfield shirt on, kick every Middlesbrough player. Nearly scored a volley. It's just I needed to connect with it.
It was Stuart Pearce, the manager then, wasn't it? What did you say to him during that kind of...
Nothing. What did he say to me, more importantly?
Yeah,
nothing. I know he works on talkSPORT as well. You can ask him the question. No, it was one of those moments where I look back at it with fondness. And some kind of sadness that it didn't work out. It wasn't that what I did stopped it from working out. Robbie Fowler had a penalty which he missed. He scores a penalty. We win 2-1. Me going up front, it was a masterstroke. And there was a few sore Middlesbrough players. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way.